1951, Frank Grunwald, his father and stepmother, emigrated to the United States. Within a decade, Frank had become an American citizen, graduated from the illustrious Pratt Institute with a degree in industrial design, and met and married a lovely schoolteacher named Barbara. Together, they raised 2 sons and now proudly adore their 5 grandchildren. At the age of 83, Frank is retired from a successful career as an industrial designer, having worked for companies like General Electric in the creation of consumer products and new product development. He continues his passion for design by lecturing on the topic at Purdue University. Yet no matter his achievements, Frank's Holocaust experience still shades every day of his life. While the memories can still be painful, Frank defies the torment by lecturing on the subject. He has also partnered with students and faculty from Fleetwood Area High School in Pennsylvania on the filming of Misa's Fugue, a documentary film of his family's Holocaust experience, which won 5 Telly Awards and was nominated for 2 Mid-Atlantic Emmys. Yet don't bother suggesting to Frank Grunwald that his life story is remarkable. From his perspective, he is just like any child who endured the Holocaust. The only difference is the way in which he endured and managed to survive.
That I wanted to be American. I wanted to speak like an American, which I was never able to do, but I wanted to be very American as possible.
Why?
I wanted to fit in because I love this country. I thought it was always a symbol of creativity and freedom. So for me, this country, it was a dream country to come to. No.
Even before?
Even before.
So what makes you decide to go to the Pratt Institute?
I decided that I was going to be an art teacher. When I got into Pratt, you had to pass an art exam, which was a drawing and sketching exam. They give you 8 or 9 things to do. Go outside and draw this and sketch this and do. That was my ball game. That's what I wanted to do. So I did it. And I passed it with flying colors. And because I'm a born explorer, in my spare time, I would be exploring all the other buildings and all the other activities in the school because I wanted to know what was going on. I walked into this old building and I walked up to the 2nd floor, and there is this huge display on the wall of these beautiful objects like scale models of cars and scale models of vacuum cleaners and scale models of this and that, and these beautiful ceramic forms of different shapes and different styles, and then there is a big sign up on top that says industrial design. And I thought, oh, this is what I want to do. This is it. So I went back into the School of Audit Education, and I said, I want to switch. And I loved it. It was exactly what I wanted to do, where I wanted to be. And I've been in it ever since.
And you married?
I met my wife Barbara in 1958.
So not that long after you came, really.
No.
7 years?
After I got out of college. Mm-hmm. After I started working.
How did you meet?
And then we met in Connecticut where I worked for GE. And she was teaching school in Connecticut.
Was it love at first sight?
It was friendship at first sight. It was real good friendship at first, and it still is.
Were you hesitant at all about entering into a relationship based on the history of your life? Based on the loss of the people that you loved so much?
No, I don't think so. I'm basically someone that needs to be with somebody. That wants to be with somebody.
Okay, that's good. Did you feel it was important to share with her your past before you married or before you got too far into the relationship?
Sure.
Maybe not now because you talk about it quite a bit, but at that time, had you told many people?
I seldom spoke about it in my professional environment. As I said before, I always wanted to fit in. Mm-hmm. I never wanted to be referred to as a concentration camp survivor. I wanted to be known as who I was, me, Frank Grunwald.
So you marry this lovely woman and you start your life together. Do you think about having children? Is it an option? Is there anything about it that you don't want to have children because of all you've gone through?
No.
You want to have a regular family?
Yeah, but I'm very protective of them. I'm always concerned about, I don't want this to happen, I don't want that to happen, so I become overly protective.
Do you realize that?
Yeah.
Do you change it?
I got to remind myself of that, and that makes me less protective.
How many children do you have?
Two boys.
Grandchildren tend to bring a whole new awareness and focus to life. Tell me what it means to you to have grandchildren.
Right now, really, they are the most important part of my life. On a scale of 1 to 10, they are really 10. I see a future in them as is propagating kind of some of the genes that were part of me and the other parts of my family.
Let's back up to when your sons were born. Did you and your wife talk about, before they were born, if you were ever going to tell them about your past and what you survived?
I don't think we spent a lot of time talking about it. We knew that sooner or later they would have to know. And
Did you pick a time and a place to sit down and tell them?
I only started talking about it when they were teenagers. They were probably at least 12 or 13 years old when we began to even mention that.
What was their reaction? I know you didn't go into detail, but even just to tell them the basics.
I think they were interested, to find out. I'm not sure that they really understood the total scope of it at that time. But I think they started to really understand it when they were in their late teens. When they were 16, 17, 18 years old, they were told, more and more.
Mm-hmm.
And,
did they have questions? Or did they just listen?
Mostly listen.
Were you able to tell them everything, or did you hold back?
I held back. I still don't tell everything.
To anyone?
To anyone.
Even your wife?
I would say she probably knows everything. She's probably the only one that knows everything.
What is your idea with your grandchildren? Are you going to leave it up to their parents?
The one that's almost 10 in Virginia Beach, he saw my video already.
What did he say?
He was very attentive and very focused on what he saw, and I don't know how much of it really sunk in.
Right.
The one comment that he made was, that wasn't really too bad. I said, why are you saying that? And he said, well, you are alive. I was kind of disappointed when he said that. I thought it was pretty bad.
Kind of sounds like your mother speaking through him, doesn't it?
Maybe. I have a digital presentation that I do that's typically about 50 minutes or an hour. I was already in my 70s when I started doing this.
Was there any part of you, because I am approaching that age and I think about my heritage and my legacy to leave behind, was there any part of that you thought, this story needs to be told and I want to be sure it's told accurately, so I'm going to do it?
Probably, yeah.
Because
maybe not consciously, but subconsciously I felt maybe it needs to be documented in some way.
Do you see it as a remarkable story?
Remarkable? What do you mean by remarkable?
I think it's a testament to the endurance of the human spirit and the connection between family members. I mean, there's so many levels that it's a remarkable story.
Well, I see it differently. I see it as a typical story, as something that typically happened to a child of the Holocaust.
Then why was it important to share it if it's typical?
Because most people don't know what the typical story is. I mean, most people don't know what the children of the Holocaust specifically went through. The suffering was not unique in any way. The coping with the suffering was not unique. A lot of kids had to cope with their suffering and were able to overcome it somehow. So that's not unique. The unique situation in my mind was that I met Dina and Willie and he saved my life. That was the unique part of the story.
If that's the unique part,
right?
Those things that came along that allowed you to survive, do you ever go across the question of why? Why me? Why was I supposed to survive?
No, because to me it's total happenstance. The only thing that it makes me think about is it puts more pressure on me to do something special, do something that's worthwhile with a life that somehow was able to survive. Try to leave some words or some advice or some life experiences / advices to others. And this is one of the reasons why I'm teaching, because I teach more than just design.
Do you bring your Holocaust experiences into your classroom?
I never mention the Holocaust, but I bring behavior and ethics, things that separate the good people from bad people. Those are the things that I try to somehow promote in the classroom, even though it's a classroom that teaches design.